everybody, it's your girl Keisha J. Kelly here for another episode of Black College Experience. Listen, y'all know we always rocking and rolling. We pick and choose our days, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Mondays, whenever I can grab a coach, grab whoever I need. I know they are the busiest people on the face of the earth, so I try not to hold them up. But listen, I take them where I can get them. I'm super excited about this interview because when I was digging in my crates, I was like, let me see who I want to grab out of the CIAA. And of course, I went down. I ain't gonna lie, I did look at who I talked to the most in the conference. So I'm not gonna hold it up. I'm super excited about today's interview. We have Winston-Salem State University coach Robert Massey, and of course, Airis Thomas, that is the sports information director over at Winston-Salem State. So we're going to get a chance to talk about the Rams today and all the good things that's going on. So we're going to go ahead and bring Coach on so we don't hold him up.
Good evening.
How you doing?
I'm hanging in there. Could be bad, but I'm hanging in there.
Listen, I see you rammed down. I see you had the shirt. I see you ready to roll.
I joke all the time since I've been coaching for a minute here. I call it GI, like government issue. This is what I wear. I dress game day almost every day.
And that's so funny. When I was talking to her earlier, she said, yeah, I said, I know y'all are running and rolling in so many directions. She said, yeah, everybody in athletics is moving in different directions. I said, I know it's football season. So of course, everybody is tied up with different sports or whatever is going on because there's so many sports going on. So, Coach, again, thank you for joining me today at Black College Experience. I won't hold you too long, but I'm gonna hold you for a little while, as the pastor say. I'm gonna hold you for a little while. So, first of all, again, everybody, we have head coach Robert Massey from the Winston-Salem State University Rams over in the CIAA. Listen, we gonna start here. Now, we know you played ball over at North Carolina Central. So we're gonna start there. How did you end up in North Carolina Central?
Well, a long time ago, John Outlaw, Coach Henry Lattimore, they recruited me. Actually, I was recruited by Winston-Salem State as well, but I ended up choosing North Carolina Central.
Wait, you were recruited by who else?
WSSU, Winston-Salem State as well, by Coach.
Okay.
Well, I had some choices to make, and I grew up in Charlotte, and I thought Winston was too close for my high school friends to come at just unannounced. So Mom encouraged me to get farther away from home so I could grow a little bit. And I did that. And it's only 2 additional hours, but it worked out.
So no Winston-Salem, you didn't want to stay at home?
I felt like that was too close for home. It's only an hour away, hour and 10 minutes away, as opposed to North Carolina Central being 2 hours and 30 minutes. So.
Listen, I'm not going to even lie because I'm from Huntsville, so I'm right down the street from Alabama A&M. And so everybody was like, why not Alabama A&M? If you can see, I went all the way to Baton Rouge. I went to Sunday. So I was like, no, I can't be close enough where my mom and dad can just drop in. We not doing that. So if you got to drop in, you got to drive 8 hours or you got to hop on the flight. Needless to say, they dropped me off in 99. Yeah, they dropped me off in 99. They picked me up when I graduated in 2003. That was their 2 trips to Baton Rouge. But okay, so you made the decision to go to North Carolina Central. So what was that like? Why HBCU? What was that like playing for North Carolina Central?
Well, it was a joy. I was really fortunate because I was not aware of John Outlaw, who's our defensive coordinator and my defensive back coach. I didn't know he had played professional football. And that was a dream and a goal. Well, and so when I got there and I found out all that information, I was even that much more excited about the opportunity of learning from a guy that played in the National Football League for a decade. So and it worked out, thank God. But again, the education part was I wanted to be a coach anyway. I wanted to be a history teacher. So I majored in education and history, and I graduated. But the football experience, and along with obviously going on to play pro football, it was just like a dream come true because for me, my why was my mother, and I wanted to take care of Mom.
And that's why that's a lot of people that play. They want to go into it. They want to go pro. They want to buy Mom the house, buy Mom the car. It's like the American dream for guys that actually went in. And so you go on, and so you said it was the dream. That's the dream. So
Right.
you went on and you did play professional football. And listen, I'm a New Orleans Saints fan now. I'm a Saints fan to my soul now. Right now we're a little shaky, but I'm a Saints fan to my soul. So what was that like? No, let me back it up. Take us through your draft moments, because I can't even imagine what that was like. Take us through the draft moment.
Well, I don't know if you know this from your research. I was Drew Rosenhaus' very first client.
Wow.
And Rosenhaus is the guy that represented Terrell Owens, He represents the kid down in Miami now, Cheetah. So I was his very first client. And one of the things he wanted to do was get me some exposure. And we did it because ESPN, he sold the ideal to him. And me and my family was on, we were the guy on the bubble, meaning the guy's going to be drafted in the first round or the second round. So my family was on national TV in Durham, North Carolina, waiting to be drafted. So it was exciting. It was fun. New for everybody, obviously. But, when you look back, I look back fondly. Great memories. And, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Do you have any footage of that coach where you was getting drafted?
It is on YouTube. Somebody sent it to me. Just put in NFL Draft 1989, Robert Massey. And I'm a lot smaller, no gray hair, had hair. But, again, obviously the apple of my eye is obviously my mom. And she was there and my uncle, my brothers, my sisters was there. So it was a really good gathering for my family. And on top of finishing school, it was really a true blessing, a true dream come true.
And I know it's like you're the hometown favorite. So I know what did mom say?
She was excited. Mom was really wanting to make sure you finish school. If you're going to play pro football, I don't think she really understood the football aspect in terms of how difficult it was and how lucky and blessed I was to be in this position. But, she's like, you make sure you finish school. And I did. So again, it was a real good feeling for me to be in a position to help the people that did so much to get me to this point. So I was very appreciative of it. And I shared that moment with them. So I would never forget that.
So what about your old teammates? What did they say?
College teammates?
Yes.
We still connect, man. We got a little thread, guys pray every Saturday. Well, obviously I can't catch them now because we're in season. But, they're watching and, supporting and wishing me well. And, obviously every week, some point in the week, we're going to talk about something that happened 30, 40 years ago. But it's good, man. It's a good vibe, and we talk, about Central. We talk about, obviously, about WSSU and what they can do to help from that standpoint. But, and I think, and it's just my opinion, I don't want to piss anybody off, but I think that's what you get when you go to a historical Black school. The beauty is that really, hey, man, you go back to your school to visit, folk know who you are. Whereas when those bigger schools, and I played with a lot of guys from major colleges, unless they are Hall of Famers, unless they gave $1 million to that institution, they're not treated and received very well when they come back 10, 15, 20 years later. But every time I've been back and I go back, the love is there. And I'm very appreciative of that.
And it's funny that you say that because, I wasn't no athlete and I'm a woman, but I can't get the same love when I go back to Southern University. And I was like, I think back to 99 when I was just this kid from Huntsville, Alabama, going to a university with over 10,000 people. Now I can walk on campus. Everybody know who you are. Everybody knows what you've done. Everybody knows the impact. And that it's a true statement. When you're going back to a historically Black college, it's so much love. Everybody gonna know you love. I ain't got $1 million to give you yet, but you go show me love because you know the impact that I made for the university. So now you played for 5 teams in the NFL, correct? Talk about those different teams that you played for.
I'll tell you this. Growing up, very limited resources.
Correct.
I got a chance to play in 5 major cities that I would probably only have dreamed about visiting and living in. So I was a journeyman by term, but I had the time of my life. Nobody can take that away from me. I could never imagine living in Detroit, New York, Arizona, Jacksonville, Florida, New Orleans for that matter. So again, they're very different in a lot of ways, but they are similar and the same. And I had great experiences in those places, man. And, even to this day, I visit those places and just, because I had great times there.
All right. Which one was your favorite? Tell the truth.
New York.
Are you a Giants fan now?
Yes, I am. And I'm going to tell you why. But I'm going to tell you why.
Tell us why.
tail end of my career, and as people would say, I was stealing money because I had no more skill, but I had knowledge. They treated me like I was a first round draft pick. They treated me like the Saints treated me day one. And when you're an older athlete, you come in, your knees are leaving you, your speed is leaving you, but you can, share the knowledge and the experience with the younger players, and they keep you around for that. I actually got into coaching. When I retired as a football player with the Giants, Jim Fossil and John Fox, hey man, you need to stay around because you're very helpful. You're insightful. You can help the players. The offense, the defense. So I got into coaching by way of the New York Giants.
And we don't see those opportunities that often. Before I go into that, what was the salary like back then?
For me, as an assistant coach or as a player?
As a player.
Well, believe it or not, my first contract was $560,000. 2 years.
Oh, that's not bad. I'll take that now.
Well, yeah, we all would. But again, back then it was a big deal with a $200,000 signing bonus. So, again, for me, coming really from nothing to have that and to be able to put that smile on mom's face because I built her a house from the ground up, I was okay with it. And I'll share this with you, and it's crazy, but it's a reality. Not knowing and understanding financially how the investment thing went, I paid mama's house straight off. And folk were mad at me, but I said this: God forbid if I don't play with one more down, Annabelle got her house. And that was really the goal at the time. And then just play as long as I could.
And I think that's smart. Even at this age, it's a lot of things that we didn't see. Well, and you saw it early on. It's a lot of things that I'm just not catching, like, oh yeah, things that you need to just pay in cash. Like we buy cars, we lease cars. And it's like, okay, now listen, if I can just go get me a cash car, I'm just going to go get a cash car. I'm not buying another brand new car. I'm not buying another car. So things that makes a lot of sense to go ahead because you have the money. It just makes sense.
Well, now I went through my phases. I was a car guy, so I'm not going to act like everything was just massive. No, I had a problem. I had 3 cars and 1 me, so I had to learn. But did
you bought 3 cars in 1 week, Coach?
Well, not in 1 week, probably 3 weeks, because I was in New Orleans and wasn't used to driving in the bigger cities. So every time I thought they got close to my little sports car, I hit my horn. So I probably invented road rage and didn't have the word to call it back then. So I went and got me a little beater. Now, if you're going to bump into me, you're not going to mess up my nice car. But yeah, I had to live and learn some of this stuff now.
You do, because New Orleans is that's a different place. It's a completely different place.
It is a beautiful place. I love it. I had a great time. I mean, the guys there, from Jim Mora to Jim Finks, who's my GM and my head coach, they taught me, as well as the staff and my teammates, they taught me a lot about the NFL life and how to live it and how to be professional. So I'm very grateful for going to a veteran team. We had a whole bunch of guys, had a good group of guys, man. They were tight knit and we were turning that thing around. So that experience, I relish it. I used to even drive down to Southern every now and then. So I loved it.
See, you went down there to see the Jaguars.
Yeah, them too.
Okay, so you weren't going to see the Jaguars.
And you tell how small the world is. Aeneas Williams became one of my teammates out in Arizona. But I definitely went down to see them play and just, because what I did was, being a black college student, I went to compare their experience to the one I came from, North Carolina Central. And they're very similar, but you were a bigger institution. So, I was like, yo, this is nice. So again, in the level of competition, I was Division I AA at the time. But yeah, listen, I had a time down there. It's a beautiful country, part of the country. So I would encourage anybody to go there in the summer and visit.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So do you have any prime moments, any prime memories, any specific memories from any team when you played in the NFL?
Well, some of the things that I hold near and dear is some of the, I guess, the small accomplishments for probably the teams I played for, but the large accomplishments for myself. For being in New Orleans, I was actually the 1989 Rookie of the Year for the team. And then I also made the all-rookie team along with a guy from New Orleans, Maurice Hurst, and Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. So we were 3 DBs on that rookie team. And then, went on to Arizona and got a chance to play in the Pro Bowl. I tied a couple NFL records. We had a few returns for touchdowns. And at that time, we beat which was the Washington Redskins, which were the defending world champions. So, again, and then going to Detroit, leading the team in interceptions there too, and then contributing on that Jacksonville team that actually went to the AFC Championship game back in 96, I believe it was, 96, 97 season. And then closing out with the Giants under Foster, his first year we won the division. So I got memories. I share them with my players, and then I tell them all, dream. You just have to dream. I mean, I know it's tough, and I do this, and you see how my hand is? That's the hill you have to climb to get to the NFL from historical black colleges. It's not like that. It's like this. You almost have to defy gravity to get on top. But it is very possible because when you look at the history of the NFL, it runs through historical black colleges.
And that's a good point. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the evolution of the black quarterback.
I saw bits and pieces of that.
So I did. I watched the first
episode against Doug my rookie year, and
you did what?
Had a chance to play against Doug Williams my rookie year. So yeah, I look at it and I've seen it, and then I have a great relationship with Shaq right now. So again, those guys have reached out and they've helped me get these young men the opportunities to play in the Legacy Bowl down there in New Orleans. So it is really a good thing, man, that those guys who are leaders, quarterbacks, they spearheaded this thing, and it's really working out for our kids.
It is, and I think I did. I won't lie. I watched the first episode because I wanted to see the Doug Williams, Shaq Harris, Eddie Robinson. I wanted to see that because I knew that's what the first was going to be. So I watched the first part, and I was like, okay, this is a great job with what Michael Vick did. I loved that part, because even when he broke it down, Shaq Harris was talking about, basically you don't have the sport without HBCUs, and you absolutely do not. All right. So now that we done got through the NFL, let's talk about your coaching careers after you finished playing professional football. Coach, you still there?
You going in and out. I'm sorry.
Let's talk about your
time. Yeah, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. So let's go into your coaching career after you played professional football.
Well, it reads like this. I retired as a player. I was an assistant with the New York Giants. Learned a lot of football in that 1 year. Hats off to coaches because I had no idea the hours you carried. I only knew the hours at that time of the player. So I understand it now, obviously, 30 years later. But I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I'll tell you a true story, and people may not believe this, but I only can tell you the truth. When I was in junior high school in Charlotte, North Carolina, the guy that influenced me more than any other man in my life at that time was a guy named Charlie Houston. Believe it or not, Charlie Houston was a Winston-Salem State University grad, and he played football. He was my junior high football coach. Everybody wanted to be like Charlie Houston, and I was one of those kids. So again, playing football and championships under him, and we loved it. And I knew I wanted to be a coach. Even when I got to high school, we thought he was going to get the job. He didn't. They gave it to another guy, and we did well in high school. But we wanted him. We did. But again, that influence is stuck with me, and I've been coaching ever since I've left the game. After I left the New York Giants, I came back to North Carolina. I became the head coach at Hillside, legendary Hillside High School in Durham, North Carolina. And then I left there and went back to my alma mater and worked under Rod Broadway at North Carolina Central. And then I left there and I worked at Livingstone with Ben Coates, and he ended up taking a job in the NFL, and they moved me into an interim position there. And then when I left there, Darryl Asbury, who's a guy from the Baton Rouge who went to Jackson State, he brought me over to Shaw University, and I was there for about 8-10 years. And then, I came down here, Coach Perez Bower. We worked together under Broadway and under Asbury, and we won a couple of championships together. So he brought me to WSSU, and we ended up winning the championship in 2016 under his tutelage. So I've always wanted to be in that black college realm, but simply because of my experience, I wanted to share that with the young men. I wanted them to continue to dream, and I think it all starts out as a dream. But what people don't realize, for me, my interpretation, a dream is also a plan, because you vision this thing. Even at night, eyes closed, you dreamed about it. So this is something you desire. So now you have to wake up in reality, put it in play, do the things necessary to get what you want to achieve in life. And again, that's getting that education, getting the opportunity to play football. So I relish that, and I hold that near and dear to my heart. trying to make sure that the guys dream. Now, is it going to happen for everyone? No. But be the best person, the best football player, best student you can be, and you never know.
And you have a very interesting story. In all of those spaces, you had success. Every space that you went in, you had a success. I heard you say, "Oh, we won a couple of championships," like it was just nothing. Like that's a hard feat. It's a hard feat to do.
No, that's not the case. But I mean, listen, that thing was a perfect storm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I've been lucky, man. Again, I've worked for some great guys. Coach Broadway, who's probably headed into the Black College Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. Coach Asbury went to a team that didn't even have a practice field, literally, at Shaw University. And we went like 36 and maybe 5 in a 4-year period. So I've had the chance, and then I came here to Winston-Salem and won a championship with Cornelius Boulware as well. So I worked for some really good football minds, really good football people, and I've learned from those guys. So I'm trying to now get one as a head coach, and I got a great staff that's helping me do that, but I got even a better group of young men that's buying into it.
And that leads me right into the next question. What did you say, or what do you say to these young men all the time to get them to continue to buy in? Because it's a continuous process with buying.
Well, one of the things that I for some reason, I just tell the guys, I have the title as coach, but I'm a resource. If you have some problems, come to me. You may not want to discuss with me the personal problems, but we have enough resources on this campus that we can send these young men to different departments, whether it's academics, whether it's mental health, physical, whatever the case may be, to get the necessary help they need. And I just want them to understand that, times have changed. The world has changed. We got more people in the world than we had when I was in college 40 years ago. But again, and understanding that, and I'm a father, so I got kids, my kids are grown, but at the end of the day, they went to college as well. So I have an ideal, because a lot of times when I talk to my young men, I talk to them like I'm their father. I give you fatherly advice. Some of it you may like, some of it you may not, but I'm trying to make sure you understand that when you're at a historical Black school, one of the things all of us do, all historical Black schools, if we do nothing else, we prepare you for life. I tell this story all the time. Hey, man, if you get an A at an HBCU, you are special because you're going to earn it. And I know some guys, I'm not going to call no names. I play with them in the NFL, and they walk through school. And it caught up with them life after football. But again, one of the things you're going to learn at the HBCUs is, hey, you got to work for everything you want. And we're more appreciative, and I hate to say that, but we're more appreciative because we understand that struggle, if you will.
And that's true. It's no truer words. It is. Because we know we gonna work for it. I had a professor, literally, to this day. I saw her last year at homecoming. To this day, it was statistics professor. She taught elementary and advanced statistics. Wasn't no way around her unless you took another professor in summer school. But everybody else had to come through this professor. Dr. Freeman was the only person I knew that will fail you with a smile and say, "I'll see you next semester." Every single time. You weren't skating through that class. You weren't skating through that class.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, when people say I got an A in that class, I was like, how? I took my C and I was happy. I took my 2 C's. I was fine with that. As long as I graduated and got out of that class. But that was those people. And I knew that she meant well. I knew that she was preparing us for next level. It was no skating through that class. And she meant what she said. She meant you're going to learn statistics today before you move on to the next class.
Well, you were lucky because I didn't get to see you in Dr. Murray's class. And I was shocked and hurt because every week he'd come in and talk about how well I'd done on the football field. I didn't have to sit up front. I was in the back, thinking I'm going to be all right. So sometimes I'm sore or whatever. I didn't go to class. So when I got the grade, I went to him, "Hey, man, what's going on?" He said, "Oh, I love my alma mater. I love football, but you got to come to class." So that just, and I tell you what, it came full circle because when I went into North Carolina Central's Hall of Fame, he was the guy that I actually introduced for my introduction. So again, great friend now, love him to death, his family and everything, man. But you can't beat it because of the relationships you develop and you make over the course of your time at your institutions.
Did you have to take the class over again, Coach?
Yes, thanks to Dr. Murray. And see, back then, here's the catch. I drove to Charlotte. I got a ride to Charlotte. I got the mail. I got the grades. And I took them back to Durham. And when my mom asked about them, I said, "I don't know. probably messed up and hadn't sent me yet. So I got away with her not really knowing that I had failed that one class. Yeah, but see, now you get the computer age, they get it ASAP.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. My dad used to ask me after I'm like, Dad, I got a test today. As soon as the end of the day, he'll call. How you think you did on the test? And if I was slower than he thought I should answer, he'd be like, yep, that means you failed because you're taking too long to answer. And I was like, well, how fast am I supposed to answer the question? It's like he knew. It's like he knew. Like, I think I passed. He said, yeah, I'm pretty sure you failed. And that's just how it was. But I always appreciate every professor, everybody that got me through Southern University, because we, like you said, we know that they meant well. We knew that we earned every single grade that we got going through those schools. So now you went to Winston-Salem in 2019.
Right.
2020 comes and you have COVID.
Right.
How did that affect the athletes? Because I was going to go into that mental health piece. And a lot of times we don't talk enough about mental health, especially with student athletes.
Right.
How did that affect their mental health?
It affected them greatly, and I'll tell you why. In this business, you touch bases with not only the student athlete that you currently have at your institution, you have to deal with the high school athlete. And see, with that, and I've heard people reference them as COVID babies because they wasn't born in the area, but they went through it. And
I say that too, because I educated COVID babies.
Yeah. But that's something I couldn't even share with them the experience because I never had that. We had the freedoms that were unbelievable. And then all of a sudden now you got to be home at a certain time. You can't go here. You can't do this. You got to wear the mask. You can't play the sport that you love. You're in college, but you got to go to class. So again, that was a struggle in itself because our kids missed a year of basically the human element of life, being able to communicate and socialize with folk. Now, I only can imagine what that would have been like if you told me to stay in the house at 19. I'm crawling out the window. I'm going to have some fun. But you couldn't do that because you would risk, giving possibly COVID to your loved ones. So again, that was tough. And I'm going to tell you, our guys did a great job of handling that, meaning the coaching staff, the kids for the most part. But I only can imagine in those quiet moments when they had time to think and realize, you know what, I may never play football again. I'm scared of this thing. I might die. You never know. The unknown is always scary. So again, we tried to do some things to kind of encourage the young men. We did well, and I'm not bragging, but I thank God for this. We maintained over that time a 3.0 GPA in the classroom, so we didn't lose anybody coming out of COVID, had the ability restrictions. So we got guys close to graduating, and a lot of those guys, believe it or not, they're graduated but had another year of eligibility, and they've come back to this season to finish up. So we feel good, man. The experience they had, I think the university had in place, as well as the state, as well as the federal government. We had in place some good stuff to keep these kids attentive or engaged, if you would, from an educational standpoint. And those guys are ahead of the curve. They're back playing ball. Obviously, that dream of wanting to play extra football, but they already have the degrees. They got interns set up. So once they get done playing football, they'll move forward with their lives. But that experience was just as scary for me as their leader, as their head coach, as it was for them. Because, again, I could only share what I was reading and the symposiums that we were going to and being taught about it because we've never experienced it.
It seemed like so long ago, but then I think about it, 2020 to 2024, they're right at that graduation or graduated time. So they're still on time. They're still in that space. And I was excited that everybody still got those, those COVID years. They got that time back to at least play. But it's tough because I remember my nephew being in college and I remember him having to come back from Tennessee State. And I was just like, I remember just looking at empty rooms and I was like, I never would have imagined. It's not something we would even think of, that the world was shut down and we're in masks and we can't even go out the house. It was definitely tough times. Definitely tough times. So now we're at Winston-Salem State and we got these wonderful Rams that are sitting right now at number 5 in the conference. That's pretty solid.
Let me address that. We're tied for 3 because we got 3 teams that have the same record.
I looked at that and I said, didn't I see something different? Go ahead.
I'm gonna put my positive spin on this thing. Johnson C. Smith is undefeated. Union is 3-1, I believe, in the conference, and then Shaw, Winston State, and Livingstone, I believe. We are at 4-2. And when people ask me about that, well, Coach, how did you drop? I said, no, they did it alphabetically. See, we're a W, so we down low. But trust me, we are in the third spot.
Really? Is that really how it happened?
Yes, that's how they do it. Alphabetical order. You look, S is before W.
Oh, they need to do better.
All ahead of us.
Oh no. Well, I did, because when I looked at it, I was like, didn't I see them at number 3 the other day? I did. I said something. I was like, didn't I see them at number 3? Yeah. Well, okay. So then that changed the conversation. So you're sitting at number 3.
Yes, ma'am.
You're getting ready to play Shaw coming up. Correct. How excited are you to face Shaw? Because next week you play Livingstone.
Well, they made the mega conference this year. We're a year early doing it, but we were heading that way anyway. So again, this is like a test run, and believe it or not, I'm excited about it. At first I wasn't a fan of it because, and this is me personally, I wasn't a fan of it because when you have divisions, and obviously I'm older than the players, but I was taught you win your division, then you win your conference, then you go to Division II playoffs. So now you have to win the whole conference. There's no more divisions, and then you go to Division II national playoffs. So I wasn't a big fan of it because one of the things that when I was in school, they had the divisions, and you honored more kids, or you celebrated more players because you have an all-South team, all-North team, and then you have the all-CIAA team. Because there's a lot of players on the average football team in this conference. You probably averaging 100, 105 kids. So if you got 13 schools, that's 1,300 students, 1,300 plus, and just to honor 44 of them, I thought it would slight them. Just me personally, because again, times have changed. But again, we like right now where we're at. We wish it could have been a little better, but at the end of the day, I feel we're in position to control our own destiny. And again, we have to do our part, and that's win each game. And our next game is the most important game, and that's because it's on the schedule. That's Shaw University. Real good team. Me and the head coach, Coach Jones, we worked together at North Carolina Central under Rod Broadway. So again, and we compete annually in the recruiting. So this game is big because, from a recruiting standpoint, we win that game. We can kind of use that to help us from the recruiting wars. And then, we still say it's the Old South. So again, trying to win the Old South right now, and that's what we're trying to do. And that should propel us based on the criteria of getting to the championship game. It should prepare us into that position.
It's still a lot of football left, but I know you have a game plan. I know you're excited about Saturday. What are the guys saying?
Well, believe it or not, our guys are resilient, and that's part of and I'll say this, and it's interesting, with all we've talked about, I think the COVID experience has helped those guys to be resilient, and they've shown resolve. So again, we've had, last 2 days we've had real great practices. Guys are flying around. We're having fun. We're paying attention to details as coaches. We're putting them in position to make plays. And again, we're familiar with the teams we're finna play now because they were, a year ago, we're all in the Southern Division. So we feel good. We feel relaxed. And I say this all the time. And I just remind the guys, look, we're going to respect everybody we play, but we're not going to fear not one of them. So I don't care what their record are, or how well they're doing, or how well they're not doing. We'll respect them, but we won't fear none of them. And they've bought into that just from a competition standpoint. And I think that's what's been carrying us over. We have a great deal of respect for our opponents, but at the end of the day, we feel like we're going to prepare. We're going to be in the best shape, and you're going to get 110% from us every time.
And are you eager to see some of your old colleagues, some of the people you worked with?
Yeah, always. Before the game, we'll do a little handshakes and complain about what we don't have, so you don't get excited about what they have or they don't have. But it's good, man. Again, when you start talking about HBCU football, HBCU experience, the camaraderie of the coaches, it goes a long way, man. I've been knowing these guys for 30 years. Time's flying. So, Coach Oliver, we work together. The head coach at North Carolina Central now, we work together at NCCU under Rod Broadway. So again, Coach Gibbs. So, we got those roots and all over the place, and everybody comes together, and it is a real good celebration, a good time. And, we go out and we represent those institutions well.
And you said something that strikes home. You said we are HBCUs and the camaraderie. Y'all got some trash talk going over there, coach. Do y'all have some trash talk?
Well, more so in the off season. Once the season is over, we do a little trash talking and stuff like that. But you know what? This is what I love about these coaches. We look for little stuff. Like if a coach fall on the sideline, they're gonna let you know. They're gonna let you know. So you're gonna get that in the off season. But again, it's really and it's sincere, the well wishing of you. Obviously, after the game is over, coaches will help each other out. If we're going to a PWI playing against them, if we got film, they would share the film with you. If they played them a season ago, they'll tell you about some of the things that they've done. So it's just again the brotherhood, if you will, the camaraderie of being an HBCU coach is outstanding. I even talked to Sam Shade, man. And here's the funny part: we never talked when we played against each other in the NFL, but now we talk maybe once every 2 weeks just to check in and see how you're doing. And McKinnon is on his staff, so those guys that I played with and against that are currently coaching at the historical Black college level too. So again, you can't beat the camaraderie. It is a good thing, man. It's built for stories to be told years from now in terms of the good times that we've had, just being in the position and being given the opportunity to help shape these young men.
And speaking of opportunities, we see so many different things. We now see HBCUs being more televised. We see, for instance, we talked about the HBCU Legacy Bowl as a showcase. We see NIL in these things. How much of that has changed? All of these things have I'm gonna say influenced more guys to choose HBCUs versus PWIs than before, because we see a lot of guys that are now, we can take, for instance, when Travis Hunter decided to go to Jackson State.
Yeah.
How much do you think these things have started to influence guys to go to historically Black colleges and say, hey, I can play football here, I can get an education here, and we know it's going to always be loved at our schools?
Yeah. Well, I think it plays a big role. I mean, again, I look at when I was in college, we didn't have the press. We didn't have the different platforms to show our product to the world. I think now, because the world is changing, obviously the worldwide internet is a big part of that. We're able now, for people that probably never heard of some of the historical Black schools, they're now being able to see that we do have athletic programs. We do have excellent educational programs in terms of things you can major in from an educational standpoint. And because of that, we've increased our enrollment in all the schools. And that's what it's supposed to be. Should have been that 30 years ago. But again, we got it now. We have to take advantage of it. And we're hot right now. And we'll stay hot because, again, that experience you could never get at other schools, because we are, and it's nothing personal, we are culturally different. Our thing now is, we got to make sure that we start putting in place things for them to come to our school other than just the athletic aspect of it, because there's so much you can benefit from and learn from experience at a historical Black school that you can't get at the PWIs. This is the bottom line. It's true. But again, you can't beat the experience. Everybody loves it. Listen, Mike, being around coaching football and working at the different HBCUs, my family's full of mutts. We got 2 Aggies. We got obviously, me and my wife, we're Eagles, and then the baby boy, he's a Ram. So we got a house full of mutts, but we are HBCU true and do.
And you know what? We got mutts too. So I'm Southern University. My twin sister is Alabama A&M. Her son is Tennessee State. My dad was Drake and my sister was Drake. So yeah, we got them running around too. We the same way. As long as it was HBCU, I don't care where it was.
Exactly. So you can imagine what Thanksgiving's like.
Oh,
dragon rights, whatever. But yes.
Of course. So what motto do you leave with these young men? Is there a phrase or a motto that you leave with these young men on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I think it's several that we do. One of them, obviously, from a football standpoint, we kind of used the one we had at Shaw University. We're all we got. So we circle the wagons, and we're family. So we protect one another. And I think that's important, and when I look back, 20, 30 years ago when I was in school, and now you have those relationships with those guys, it comes full circle and you have a better understanding. because a lot of the guys that you're going to deal with at the collegiate level, those are going to be your friends for life. I got, quite a few friends in the National Football League, but not as many that I have and I've had from my college experience. So one of the things we wanted to make sure these young men understood is become a well-rounded young man. Unfortunately for me, when I was in college, only people I dealt with was football people. You didn't play football. I didn't really got to know you, didn't mess with you, whatever. Times have changed. We want you to get out, and you never know. You may become friends or roommate with the next Bill Gates. You never know. So again, with that, and some of the kids might be saying, well, who is Bill Gates, Coach Massey? So I'll say Elon Musk, more renowned, younger billionaire. But again, you never know. And that's what you want to do. As this world has gotten bigger, you got to go out and meet folks. You don't know who you're going to meet and what they may have to do with life after football.
And that's the importance of it. I see that you set the guys up for greatness, not only on the football field, but also in the classrooms. And that's another thing that's very important. Is that, we know you're playing football, but ultimately I'm always this person. Education is my first thing. Like what happens if you get hurt? You still got to have a backup plan. You got to have a game plan after, athletics.
Yes. And we stress that. And I think all the coaches do. We just do it differently, but we stress that because I tell kids this: if I didn't graduate from college, I wouldn't be here in this capacity, fussing and cussing about you not going to school or class, whatever the case may be, and running you up this hill that's 10,000 feet high because you're not going to class. So again, we're living proof. We're concrete evidence. You can see, touch, and feel the historical Black coaches. My door is always open. You don't have to set up an appointment to see me. You can come to my office and talk to me. And I don't know if you can do it at some of the bigger schools and just being honest. So that human element is what you get at these HBCUs. And I think our kids benefit from it because that's what we've been used to in terms of how we've been raised, that human element. We didn't get the timeout corners at home and to be a whoop. And you fell in line then. So again, that human element, and folk lie, but don't tell me you ain't never been cursed out at home.
Of course, exactly.
At home. So again, and the world's changing, but at the end of the day, you have already been built for some of the stuff that you're going to experience. Leaving home, going to Black college. Now the world is in trouble because I'm ready to dominate.
And the thing is that we didn't know then, but we appreciate it now, and we understood exactly what they were talking about. We understood well what our parents meant.
Yes.
Now, Coach, before we wrap up this interview, I'm going to ask you what it's called the hot seat. Okay. You got to answer whatever comes to mind. Okay. You can't think about it. You just got to say either or. So you just let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
You ready?
Let's go.
All right. R&B or rap?
R&B at this stage of my life.
If it's what?
R&B at this stage of my life, Frankie Beverly and Mays.
Gospel or jazz?
Gospel.
Fall or spring?
Spring.
City or country?
City, because I'm a country boy.
NFL or NBA?
NFL.
Kobe or LeBron?
I'm a Laker fan, so I got to go with Kobe because he's there before Bron. Kobe. See, I was hoping you said Michael or Kobe, but that's fine.
Okay, we can do that. Michael or Kobe?
Michael.
Ranch or blue cheese?
Ranch.
Sweet or unsweet tea?
Unsweet at this stage of my life.
If you were stranded in a desert, what would you have? What's one thing you have?
Wow. Now that's tough. If I was stranded, probably just off the top of my head, I'm thinking water. But if you're going to let me do anything, a helicopter to get the heck out of it.
What's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
I thank God. I really do. Mom taught us to pray and be grateful and thankful. It's hard to bend down on my knees, but I do thank the Lord for being able to continue on and do what I've been doing.
And then the final question. Oh, no, one more before that. Oatmeal or grits? Uh-oh. Oatmeal or grits? Coach.
Can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Oatmeal or grits? All right.
You going in and out? I'm sorry.
Oatmeal or grits? All right. I don't know. Uh-oh. I see you there.
We go.
All right. Oatmeal or grits?
Can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you.
It's not coming through.
Can you hear me, Coach?
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Good to go.
All right. Oatmeal or grits, Coach?
Now, I didn't hear the last question.
Okay. The last question was, you taking oatmeal or grits?
Can you hear me now?
I hear you.
Okay. I can hear you now.
All right. Oatmeal or grits?
Grits. All day,
Okay.
every day.
Okay, so what's in them? Butter or sugar or salt?
Younger sugars.
Okay.
I kind of getting even both along now, but preferably sugar when I was younger.
And then the final question: what's the best HBCU in the world?
Boy, now that's tough. That is tough, and I'll tell you why. You don't want to abandon your alma mater, but you're grateful where you work at. But I'll say this, and I've been to quite a few. The experiences that I've seen, that would really be hard because we are all special in our own little way. So I'm not going to get in trouble with nobody because I love my job, I love my alma mater, and I love the Black college experience that I've had. So all of them are the best.
Okay, that's a good way of putting it, Coach. You got out of it, but that's a good way of putting it. I respect that.
Thank you.
Completely respect that. I respect that. Thank you so kindly for playing the hot seat. We got you. It just didn't want you to answer the grits or the oatmeal. It didn't want you to answer that question for some reason. And that's exactly what you're going to end up having to eat. It's somewhere they didn't want you to answer. But Coach, I thank you so much for joining me today at Black College Experience. Thank you for spending some time with me, just sharing your story. You have an awesome story. It's very storied. It's a lot of history behind it. I didn't know I was talking to a legend, but now I can say, hey, I interviewed a legend. They're going to be a little jealous now, but I can say I interviewed a legend. But I appreciate you for sitting down talking to me. And I know this weekend y'all will be prepared. I know y'all gonna knock them down, and I'm proud of y'all. I'm excited for y'all to see where y'all are, because I've watched Winston-Salem over the years, and to see where y'all are right now, it's very exciting. So super excited to see what y'all do this weekend. And I know you're gonna have them guys out to prepared and ready to go. And please don't follow them sideline.
I have, but I won't this time. Hey, thank you for having me. This has been very refreshing. It got me away from football, but it kept me around football. Best of luck to you. You got a new fan now, because again, I'm not a social media guy, but I would definitely check in from time to time. Wish you all the best, and continue to do what you do.
Thank you, Coach. And just know you are no longer, you're not a guest now, you're family. So whenever you want to come back, I'm going to be knocking at the door now.
Sounds like a winner. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Have a good rest of the evening.
Okay, take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.